why would Buffett be dumping banking shares? It's because when they go to cryptocurrency, when the US dollar goes cyber, we don't need banks anymore. Think about what should you be doing. So this is it's more than a crisis of money, it's a crisis of technology, and humans are becoming obsolete. When I was 9 years old, I asked my school teacher, I said, when will I learn about money? And she says, well, we don't teach money at school. And so I'm 9 years old, and I'm going, that's really strange. Why don't they teach people about money? So I go home to talk to my poor dad, again, as rich dad and poor dad. And I asked my poor dad, I said, how come we don't learn about money? And my dad says, because the government tells us what we can teach. And money is not a subject. This investment crisis is a very important crisis because myself, Harry Dent, will be telling you about the crisis. There is no doubt this crisis is coming. The only question is, what are you going to do about it? I think we're heading into a depression. And it'll be a long depression. I think we're back at 1928 right now. So if Buffett is dumping bank stocks, what are you going to do? If there's a depression, what are you going to do? A major, major, major crash is coming. It hasn't hit yet, but it's coming. Now, this is why you need to listen to different people, is because what Harry says to do and what I say to do are different. So Harry will probably say that gold's going to go to $1,000 an ounce. My friend Jim Rickards, who wrote the book Currency Wars, is saying gold's going to go to 15,000 US. Somewhere in between there is the truth. So Harry says 1,000 US, and Rickards says 15,000. Let me give you two more things that have happened in this year. An American trucking company, truck builder, they announced they'll have a driverless truck on the road in America in 2021. Now, a driverless truck, what does that mean? That means there's 3 million truck drivers in the future who are out of work. We don't need drivers. The lesson is technology replaces human beings. As a pilot, I went back to my old squadron in Florida. They don't need pilots in the airplanes anymore either. They're drones. The drones can fly by themselves. So look at who's getting fired today are airline pilots. That's why Buffett's dumping airlines. All these pilots, they're losing their jobs. And what happens is little drones fly up ahead over there. You don't need a pilot for them. And our silly school system still tells you to go to school, get your PhD, and look for a job. Well, jobs are disappearing. So that's the future. That's the crisis. It doesn't have anything to do with COVID. It really has to do with technology also. So if you don't need pilots, why would Buffett be dumping banking shares? It's because when they go to cryptocurrency, when the US dollar goes cyber, we don't need banks anymore. Think about what should you be doing. If bankers are going to be out of business, truckers are going to be out of business, and airline pilots are out of business, what does that mean to you? When they have driverless cars, the Uber drivers, you don't need them. So this is it's more than a crisis of money, it's a crisis of technology, and humans are becoming obsolete. When there's a crash, there's more opportunity. But not unless you change, the distance between your right ear and your left ear, the future stays the same. So the purpose of this crisis investing is change the distance between this ear and that ear, and you'll see a different future. I think I hate to say we're in a global depression. America's debt to GDP ratio is now 130 debt to GDP. At 90, America is broke. So we went from 90 to 130. Japan is 220 debt to GDP. Japan, which is hardworking, like me, not really, but they're big savers and they're losers, because why would you save money when the government's printing money? They can't change. The Japanese have a debt to GDP of 220, America is 130, At 90, we're bankrupt. So we're bankrupt right now. And that's why what happened in 2008, I think what happened is the Federal Reserve Bank and the US Treasury and Wall Street decided just to destroy the US dollar. So that's why Harry Dent is absolutely correct. We're going into a massive, massive crash. So the question is, what are you going to do? We're going to have this event. There is no doubt about it. We're going into a depression. Millions will lose their jobs. You know, Harry Dent is a person I've studied for years. He's like, he's my mentor. And his forecasts on the economy are pretty spot on. You know, back in the 80s, he says the great boom ahead. And today, he and I in total agreement is that after 2008, the Federal Reserve Bank, the US Treasury, and Wall Street destroyed the economy. And then COVID hit. And now we're facing the biggest financial crisis in world history. The world is printing money. And the people are so desperate, businesses and families, oh, give me the money, give me the money. And I don't blame them. But the money is fake money. It's fake money. It's only going to make people poorer.